Where is the Jedi hiding?
There is no Jedi.
Prove yourselves worthy, and you may join us. Attack! Why do you seek Imperial favor?
Revenge.
Tales of the Empire, available May 4th on Disney+.
Welcome back to the Cinema Club podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Amick. Thank you for joining us. I am back with Adam and Mark, jumping into our coverage of episodes 4 through 6 of Tales of the Empire. Happy to be covering episodes 4 through 6 with both of you guys tonight.
It's definitely a different story and story arc.
Yeah, very different story arc, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like it's the inverse, right? Similar story sense of like flirting with the dark side. One just embraces it, the other one decides to reject it.
I have feelings.
I was going to ask you both, when it comes to Padawan Barriss, we really haven't gotten a ton of her previously in the Star Wars universe, right?
Clone Wars. She was in several episodes of Clone Wars. She, at one point, betrays the Jedi and frames Ahsoka as a person who planted a bomb in the Jedi Temple. And they don't believe that Ahsoka's innocent. So the Jedi Council lets her be arrested. And they're not even giving her a defense. They're like, you're a terrorist, right? Anakin's hunting around trying to find proof that Ahsoka's innocent. And he ends up finding it, and he ends up freeing Ahsoka and proving that it was Barris that did it. And Yoda says something along the lines to Ahsoka of, we've decided this is your trial to become a Jedi Knight. You can become a Jedi Knight. She's like, fuck you, I'm going away. Betrayed by the Jedi Council. And Palpatine did this to separate her and Anakin because he knew that he couldn't get Anakin to fall because Ahsoka was that devoted to him and a stabilizing influence. And him losing Ahsoka and his wife and being betrayed from his point of view by Obi-Wan is what makes Darth Vader. So overall, story-wise, those episodes had to happen. Personally, I was a big old shipper of Ahsoka and Barris being a thing. I'm going to admit it, and I'm going to hold to it, and I can even justify it that the relationship ended for whatever reason, and Barris was pissed off and said, fuck it, if I'm going to do evil shit, I'm going to blame my ex, and I'm okay with this. But just how badly the council failed is what upsets me the most. Really makes me feel that, yeah, the time of the Jedi had come and gone. But that's going way deep to my personal feelings about that character.
No, I appreciate that recap of her character because I remembered her, but I didn't remember her storyline.
Yeah, she and Ahsoka face certain death together and save each other, and they have a good relationship. And it was well done story. I really enjoyed it. And the fact that Barris is in jail and is recruited by the Empire in episode 4, devoted, I always thought that happened to her. I was surprised that I had not seen her as one of the sisters that were Inquisitors. So for me, this episode was everything I wanted, because that's what I thought should have happened to the character. My son pointed out something interesting, that the Inquisitor always calls her Barris O'Fay. The other people that they're testing, he never says their name, right? So the kid said, I wonder, because we all know the Inquisitor used to be one of the Jedi guards. He says, I wonder if he's one of the ones that was there when she was arrested. So he has a personal relationship with her, even if it's not stated, whatever we want to call it. Mm-hmm. He was there when she fell, so that's why he wants her. And I like to think that's the way it is.
I'm buying into that. And I guess to clarify as well, so Barris and Ahsoka, were they ever romantically involved or no?
Officially?
Officially, no. Headcanon.
Like I said, I'm a shipper. I'll admit it. I'm okay to go and die on that hill. I think the two of them would have been a brilliant power couple. How different would Anakin's story have been if he could have admitted he married the senator and she could have gotten the basic prenatal health care she needed, right? Big old plot hole there, guys, right? But fine, that's the story. We live with it. I see the two of them could have had a relationship, and relationships of that kind are not encouraged by the Jedi whatsoever, with very few exceptions, that the two of them would have been separated. I think Barris was seeing the corruption of the Jedi and the corruption of the Republic. Just chose to be a terrorist.
I will say the two, I don't like to be negative.
No.
So sorry.
Totally okay to be negative.
This is not a usual thing. I guess the two mild gripes I had with the second story was motivation for the character seemed a little hazy. And I guess that confused me. And the other thing is a smaller gripe is awesome as it was that we got Darth Vader. Every time I see Darth Vader, it's like a whole fangirl moment. I feel like he was grossly underutilized. He just walked into frame and then he sat, which is cool.
But
A little
not as cool
underutilized.
as killing everybody down a hallway.
At least give him at least some type of interaction. It's just he existed and this is your new master, which was a cool moment just because of how iconic Darth Vader is.
Sure.
But because of how iconic he is, I would like him to do more stuff.
But it actually put in place that Vader is in charge of the Inquisitor. They're not necessarily answering to the Emperor. They answer to Vader. And I don't remember them ever stating that before.
I don't know if it was explicitly stated, but that was always my assumption, I guess. It was a Vader-centric structure. Like Palpatine's, hey, I'm not even going to mess with those underlings. You take care of that.
Well, the apprentice having their own apprentices is very much a thing in the Star Wars Sith universe. So motivation-wise, if you had the choice between sitting in prison and rotting or running around at least killing bad guys, I would like to think I'd pick the not rotting in jail. I also think, especially going into episode 5, Realization, that was promised something that in practice didn't happen. She was told that she was helping to stabilize the Empire. She was killing rebels. She was doing these things, not capturing kids, not killing people when they wouldn't tell the truth, even though one of them did, like we see a lot in episode 5. And I think that's the reason why she was disillusioned. She was one of the sisters. I don't know which number she was. I don't think they ever say. She was an Inquisitor for a while. So I think that was a motivation, is not to rot in jail.
Didn't she blow up a Jedi temple, though?
The only people that died were clones, robots, and Jedi, and none of them are human. It wasn't like she blew up a civilian airport. The Jedi temple is a valid military target. Just happens to be in the middle of a city, which is not cool, but the entire planet's a city, right? But it was a terrorist attack. It was a terrorist attack on a valid military target.
I think one of the troopers tells her that she should be glad that she's not a Jedi anymore because they're not going to exist tomorrow or something. So she also has that piece of information that she's working with when she's making this decision.
Oh yeah, she's straight up threatened by the clone troopers, isn't she?
Hey, here's your second chance.
The fourth sister was in Obi-Wan. She was one of the Inquisitors running around in Obi-Wan. And I did enjoy that fact that they were grabbing some of the characters. Also, the Plague Doctor Sith was at the very end of episode 4. And I want to call him Martok, the Inquisitor that Ahsoka killed and Sabine were fighting on that one planet. The one with all the great lightsaber combat in Ahsoka.
Yeah,
So you actually saw Inquisitors from the other shows in that scene. And I really did appreciate that. So then you got 10 seconds of Vader, which I'm just less than thrilled with.
When it came to that 10-second shot of Darth Vader, I thought the art was just done really nice. If you just paused on that scene of him sitting, it didn't look like animation to me, honestly.
I'd say it's top notch all the way through the show.
Look, it looked like really good, just CGI, straight up.
Tales of the Jedi, to be honest. It's much better animated. A new standard for them, which I hope they keep.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I had written down too, is just in general, I feel like this entire series really was an elevated animation experience, especially if we compare and contrast it to the first couple seasons of the Clone Wars. That's night and day. Different.
That Clone Wars pilot series movie. God, that's good things they
Wow.
did, but wow, that was not a good bit of filmmaking.
I had a really good time, honestly, with episode 4. Just seeing his complete transition, seemingly, to being recruited to the dark side. Even like how the episode ends with her utilizing the Force chokehold.
Admittedly, episode 4 is my favorite episode out of the second story.
Okay. I had down that episode 5 was maybe the best episode of the entire series for me. So
It's
it's
a good
interesting
one.
that at least I'm having very different experiences than you two with the series and the stories as a whole, honestly. This is fun though. I'm having fun because get to compare and contrast a little bit.
Art is subjective, so
Yes.
we'll all experience it differently.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I feel like, having watched the trailers, think that Darth Vader's team really frustrated me because the Darth Vader spot is basically put in that trailer. And because it was in the trailer, I anticipated it more. And I didn't get it.
Like every episode would have something with Vader involved.
At least some words.
Well-
Hi, how are you? My name is Vader.
I'm going to squirrel here, but wasn't that the problem with the first Dune and Zendaya? She was in every single trailer for the first Dune,
Yes.
and she's got 5 minutes of screen time total, maybe,
Yeah.
in a 2-hour-long movie. And I was like, okay, I was expecting a little bit more.
Like, I'm here because of Zendaya.
I could care less about Paul Mordib. Who cares about that dude? I didn't even know who he was. Sorry. Back up.
No, I'm a big fan of Zendaya, so I can relate to your experience. I was happy that
So
she
the
was
same
one more
kind of
involved in
thing.
the second movie.
Yes. Oh, I very much enjoyed their second movie. But same kind of thing. You expected more of Vader because if they're going to put him in the trailer, then that means he's a part of the show in a significant manner. That makes sense.
Adams, I'm canceling Disney Plus right now.
No, X-Men 97's on Disney Plus.
And
Okay.
I'm excited for Acolyte, not going to lie, but that's later.
But with episode 5, the reason why it really stood out to me is, especially after watching episodes 1 through 3, where we see one character making decisions. Like one of you guys brought it up. We got the inverse of that with Barris's storyline. It seems like she's really bought into, I don't know if that's propaganda. I guess it is like kind of
The
propaganda.
Empire. She's an Inquisitor. You don't become an Inquisitor unless you're devoted.
Yeah, she's very devoted to the Empire's cause. That's a good way to put him, for sure.
Yeah,
Mark.
she cause.
Yeah, he's one of them. At the same time, she hasn't completely switched over to the dark side. She still has those Jedi Knight aspects baked into her character, and that's what comes up in the situation where it's like, oh, this is someone that's defenseless, that's surrendering. We shouldn't just straight up murder them.
Yeah.
Chivalry, knighthood, right? Protector of the weak, protector of the ones who can't defend themselves. Not walk into a village and massacre everyone. And I think the Force sister to kill everybody in the room except the kid who told what was going on, I think that was the tipping point. They're supposed to be
Right.
basically Imperial Knights, and that's a whole different thing in the Star Wars world. But that's what I think she saw herself as a knight. Sure, she's a knight wearing black, which traditionally isn't the good guys, but she's a knight, and this is not being a knight.
Before we continue with our discussion, I did want to take a moment to express our gratitude to the amazing supporters of the Cinema Club. Your ongoing contributions are the backbone of our podcast, helping us cover the costs of software and editing subscriptions that are essential for crafting each episode. For those who are really enjoying the show and wish to further support us, even a small commitment of 99 cents a month can make a significant difference. Simply head over to our website and click on the Support This Podcast button. You can find us at podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/The Cinema Club. Thank you so much for being a vital part of our community. And now let's jump back into the discussion. Also, completely a side note, this is my first time noticing it. Maybe this has been something that's popped up before in Star Wars. But I think this is the first like non-binary character in Star Wars that we encountered in the show, because the Jedi that appears in the episode, at least to me, like came across as non-binary, and Barris referred to them as they, them as well.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't know if that was something that we've already seen in Star Wars or if that was supposed to be intentional in the episode. I thought that aspect was also interesting / cool because I don't think we had seen that specific representation before in the Star Wars films and or shows, at least.
I'm running through my brain. I know we've had it for a while in Star Trek. Maybe that's why I didn't catch it, because it's happened in Star Trek for so many episodes and so many different shows.
I'll confess, I'm not big into Star Trek.
There's a lot of
Trust me,
There's
there's
a
a lot of great content. On the other hand,
questionable
there's
content.
3 to 4 times as much content as there is Star Wars content.
Oh yeah,
It's
probably
monolith.
pushing towards 4. There's
Yeah.
so much.
Some of it's amazing and some of it is trash.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, this entire series trash. No, it's, oh, look, there's 5 amazing episodes. What the hell are you 3 doing? It's very mixed. Can you think of any non-binary characters besides droids? But they usually have some kind of gender to them a little bit, right? But
I think this is the first time, honestly.
oh, damn, I'll have to watch that again.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty subtle thing, but I definitely caught it in my one and only watch. So I was curious if that was your takeaway as well, as this was a non-binary character / at least human character that was presented in that way.
I did rewatch 4. I did not rewatch 5. I did not even catch it, and now I'm going to have to watch again. But if you're right, if they gave them they, them in the subtitles in some form, that would be the first. Oh, damn, I got to watch it. Cool. Thanks. Got another reason to watch it.
Yeah, I don't think I had the subtitles on. That's a good point, Mark. I could have double checked that before I brought it up.
No, Dad. I want to say I think you're right on what was spoken, what was said, and what the subtitles said, but it didn't even ping to me at all.
So maybe
That's-
it
that's
might have
cool.
been something that was unintentional or intentional. I didn't look into it on the internet, to be transparent with you guys.
I'm actually doing research right now as we speak.
I love it. I love that Adam does that.
Yay,
Over-
internet.
What's Reddit have to say about this
Oh,
subject?
it looks like there are 2 Jedi characters that are non-binary. Star Wars: The High Republic, the 2nd issue. This is a comic book. Okay. This was 20.
Okay, I'm going to be a snob. All right, I'm just going to straight up admit it. If it hasn't been on screen, it ain't
Doesn't
canon.
count.
When Lucas was letting people write and do comics and all sorts of stuff, there was some absolutely quality content. Thrawn came from the expanded universe.
Mm.
There was so much waist-high piles of cow shit. I really want to make sure you understand the image I'm putting here. Bad and poorly written books. Like, I've got Death Troopers, which is a zombie book, and Star Wars. And not only is it poorly written, poorly paced, it just ain't good. But it's zombie stormtroopers, so I had to read it. There's a freaking 6-foot-tall green bunny in the comic books, and they finally came out with an action figure for him. I'm a snob on this one. It's got to be on screen. I don't care if it's film. I don't care if it's animated. I don't care that it's those damned Ewok movies that came out direct to TV. It was on screen. It exists. I'm that guy. I'm sorry.
Fun to delve into the books, but you don't officially consider them canon.
Some of them are very much worth reading. It is literally, here's a pile of bricks. Find the one that's missing one corner. And yeah, you'll eventually find that one, but how many bricks did you have to pick up and look at?
Okay. Still doing research. I found the first on-screen Star Wars character
All right.
in Squadrons.
The video game.
Yeah. Shout outs to Screen Rant for providing that info.
I have the game. I like the game. That was a bizarre, fun, and interesting complete scroll.
Yeah, that was fun. No, that's awesome.
I am going to have to watch episode 5 again, though, because that is something I need to check because I did not catch that at all.
Yeah, let me know if that was the correct interpretation on my end or not. Everybody else listening as well, let me know. But anyway, I really enjoyed Barris's storyline in episode 5. I thought it was the best episode. I did enjoy Barris's episodes as a whole more than Morgan Elsbeth's as well, so that may be a little bit part
That
of
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah. And then I should recap that Barris insists that they bring the Jedi to the ship to save him. The Force sister is not interested in doing that. And then they have a little duel, and Barris force pushes the Force sister off the mountain and gets rid of her Inquisitor helmet. And then she takes care of the dying Jedi and assures them that they're not alone and that she'll try and save them. And then we jump into episode 6, which, again, I really enjoyed this one. We see Barris now as a much wiser, older, full-fledged adult going by wise mother. One of the aspects that I did kind of question that I wanted to put out to you two is why Barris looks like she's aged like 50 years in this episode compared to episode 2. Yet Lynn, the Force sister, when she shows up, she looks essentially the same.
If I had to guess, that's probably like a use of skincare.
Just look at
I was
hard
gonna
to climb.
say that. Let's gonna say that.
Just spitballing now. That was the question I had to.
If you're living out in the desert or the tundra or whatever, and you're not taking good care of your skin, yeah, you're gonna look older.
My only theory, besides maybe the planet that she's been on being a little harsh elements there, was that maybe it was an implication that she's been using her life force to heal people, and maybe
Ooh.
that's taking a toll on her physically. But that was my only theory that was jiving with the very minimum information we were given in the episode. Because outside of that, I have no idea, honestly. Unless they're different species.
That was another thought that
Yeah,
came
that
on
going on.
eventually. But it's not really established how much time has passed, right?
Right.
Okay, so I looked up her race, which is the Marylands, and apparently
Okay.
average lifespan is 68 years. People that were deeply attuned to the Force could live up to 200. That's not surprising. Individuals past the age of 85 are considered to have reached an age worthy of veneration. Supposedly, Ahsoka's race is short-lived, per se. So I was hoping it would be something like that so we could say, oh, her people just age faster. But no, she looked very time-worn.
Very just like tired in general. It seems, oh,
Yeah.
I've lived a good life or a long life at least. Done a lot of shit since we met or we last saw each other, since I forced threw you off a mountain.
Which nobody apparently dies from. We'll just leave that there.
She used the force to land, probably.
It just means Mace didn't die. That's what I'm going to keep going with. There are things I liked about the episode. I very much enjoyed the ice capes. I thought that was a really neat way to do it. Enjoyed the Force sisters' very small but very deep character arc in that little episode. As for Barris, her character felt very much Walker episode 8, to the point where she doesn't even pull out a lightsaber to fight. She dodges them like a mofo.
She's
I've
using
seen
the
this.
force, Mark.
I've seen this. And
That's
I
very
think that
fair
actually
criticism.
I think it really disappointed me. I expected, even if it wasn't Darth Maul and Obi-Wan in the desert on Tatooine, that final fight scene, which is every perfect samurai movie final fight scene. Even if it's not that, I expected something out of a fight between the two of them, even if it was Barris Force pushing her away.
What did you think?
I got
Adam?
nothing.
You're just chuckling over there.
It's so animated. That it is funny.
Jokes about the fact that I talk with my hands like this, that's fair.
I enjoyed the episode. In terms of her motivations, make more sense. I do think this is a great platform for characters like this, to like nice little small episode. I feel like we just got her whole eureka moment in a scene, and I think it was done well. I wish it was elongated a little bit, and there was more of a moral conflict. There was not really a real conflict for her. She knew what she deemed was right, and it was just like clear cut from perspective. It was like, this kid already fessed up, not gonna kill him. You know what I mean? I wish there was more of a struggle where she was having a difficult decision, if that makes sense. But to that, going into the final episode, I thought it was handled pretty well. Admittedly, this is where expectations come in and ruin everything. I anticipated some level of Ahsoka being involved in the last episode, and then it didn't happen, and then I was sad. But it's because I had that expectation. But
I think I did too.
it worked given the context of the story and the characters that were already introduced. But admittedly, a small piece of me was very disappointed by something that was not promised to me, but I was still expecting.
I just wanted more Vader, man. So all of us agree that episode 1, 2, and 3 was perfect bite-sized chunks. That's everything we needed. I get the feeling that we wanted a 4.5 and a 5.5, right?
I would have.
We wanted more of why she stops being Inquisitor, and then how she gets to be the Zen master, right?
Mhm.
I think that's actually my problem with 4, 5, and 6 is I need than what was given to me for how big of an arc and radical shift that arc was.
Yeah, like instead of making it a 15-minute episode, make episodes 5 and 6 19 minutes instead and just had a little bit more
Yeah.
story, a little bit more of a journey there. I definitely feel Boris's story could have benefited from that. And circling back to what you were sharing, Adam, about not really seeing that conflict within Barris play out so much, I totally get what you're saying because at least the example that came to my mind within Star Wars is when Darth Vader is watching Palpatine electrocute Luke.
Oh, yeah, that's a great
And
example.
and
Yes.
you see the electricity reflecting on Vader's helmet, and he's just watching this. And even though Vader's in this helmet, you can still just imagine the thought process this character is going through, and then the action that takes place afterwards. And I think you're totally right, Adam. I think that's a great criticism, great point is we didn't have something like that when it came to Barris making that really big, impactful decision here in episode 5. And as far as Ahsoka goes, I did have a question. Was the child being taken to Ahsoka, or was the child being taken to somebody else at the end of the episode 6?
Okay, I don't remember Ahsoka ever dealing with kids, any of the Rebels stuff, with the exception of, I keep calling him Martok, the one that was in Ahsoka. I think all the Inquisitors are gone by Return of the Jedi, episode 6. I think they pretty much been taken care of, honestly, by episode 5, by Empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a big galaxy, right? And
Yeah.
there's always room for things to be happening in the corners. My assumption would be that this is pre-Rebels, pre-Battle of the first Death Star. The story takes place in that time chunk, in which case there's been implied that there's a whole Underground Railroad bit for Jedi Force sensitive.
Sure.
Bad Batch goes into Project Necromancer, which is referenced as what Grand Moff, I cannot remember his name, from Mandalorian is working on, and General Hux's father is working on, which is how we get the Emperor back. One of the things that Necrom doing in the Bad Batch is they're stealing Force-sensitive kids to try and figure out their genetics to get a clone that has a stable M count so that they can basically make Snoke, the Emperor, and clone Starkiller and all those other things that we get with cloned. Heck, the original 3 Thrawn books back in Expanded Universe have cloned Luke. They grabbed Luke's hand and made a clone of Luke. So cloning Jedi and Force sensitive has been a big thing in the Star Wars universe background for a while, but that's why the Inquisitors are stealing kids.
So we really don't know who the kid was getting sent over to.
It could have been Fulcrum, Ahsoka, so that she could get it to somewhere else. The kids could have been living on Alderaan for all we know, which makes it really ironic that the entire planet was blown up.
Good headcanon again.
Canon again. I enjoyed the overall arc. I enjoyed the overall story. I enjoyed 1, 2, and 3 more. But I think it's because I was expecting more of her story. And it was all me building up expectations just like Adam did. I expected more. And yeah, just wasn't quite as good. Now, you, Chris, coming into it without those expectations, yeah, those are probably great episodes. More would be nice. But I think for me, it's just like with Adam, I expected more.
Expectations do a good job of coloring how we view certain things. And if certain expectations aren't met, I feel like it'll have a negative outlook on whoever has that expectation. That's all.
Which is one of the things I've tried with all the movies. Star Wars, there's going to be a lightsaber in it somewhere. There's going to be explosions. There's going to be good guys and bad guys dying. And I go into the theater and that's what I expect. And that's what I get out of every single freaking movie. Okay. And I go into these movies expecting that, and I get it. I don't expect anything more, and I know I'm not going to get anything less. And I'm happy every single time I see a Star Wars movie because it hits those expectations. The times when I expect more, are all on me. And I know better than to do that. So I didn't expect anything for episode 1, 2, and 3 because it was Morgan. I was just thrilled I was getting any backstory. But with Barris, I had expectations.
It's definitely a balance game of not letting anticipations become expectations at least too much. I know it's something I struggle with personally with anything that I'm super hyped about, especially after watching a trailer. Even like House of Dragon Season 2 trailer dropped this week, and I'm like, oh, shit, this looks sick. I can't wait for this. Which, again, some of that is written down, flash referenced in Game of Thrones. So I know the basic storyline of what's going to happen, but still, it's something where I have to catch myself not writing fan fiction ahead of a project that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, I think you summarized it really well, Mark, when it came to our various experiences with Tales of the Empire. Obviously, in my situation, it was something where I had completely forgotten what I had seen in the trailer. So I was just coming in blind.
I did enjoy actually finding out what happened to Barris post Order 66, because that was always one of those questions I had, and it was really nice to see.
Definitely. And I overall had a good time with it. I'm glad that we got to deep dive into and reflect / compare and contrast our experiences with episodes as a whole.
So Acolyte, Old Republic, beginning of the Sith, maybe? There's going to be lightsabers and spaceships and explosions, and I'm in.
I assume you both did watch the newer trailer, the second trailer that dropped the other week.
Today.
I actually
Okay.
just recently found out that one of the characters is played by a girl who played X-23
Oh, really?
Oh, no, really?
in the
Okay.
Logan movie.
Oh, Daphne Keane, right? Okay, now I'm way more excited.
There's
Well, we
also
have-
rumors that she might be in the new Deadpool movie too, as X-23.
I'm
That
really
would be
hoping
cool.
though.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. This cast. We got Carrie-Anne Moss, right? I would watch it because Carrie-Anne Moss is in this. These are all gorgeous people. Daphne Keane, Amanda Stenberg, Manny Jacinto, Rebecca Henderson, Lee Jung-jae, and if I mispronounce names, I'm sorry, Charlie Barnett. Where do I know Abigail Thorne from?
Is a YouTuber.
Oh, really?
Cool. Same with Judas Sotamo. I know him from somewhere. Marguerite Leviva, Dean Charles Chapman, and Jodie Turner-Smith.
Zorn has a YouTube channel called Philosophy Tube.
Oh, she's also a voice actor. Baldur's Gate 3 and Django.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I knew that I'd seen her. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. It looks like they're going to drop the first 2 episodes together of the 8 episode season, which I'm glad we're not getting like a little 6 episode thing. At least we're getting 8 episodes. Hopefully they'll be at least 35 minutes, 45 minutes long each. I'm definitely excited to be exploring this time though within Star Wars, because it's something where we really haven't gotten to check this out at all previously.
Not besides a couple of video games. There's been some books and some comic books, but really this is brand new territory for them.
Just to talk about the episode length, this is a quote from the showrunner. About 30 minutes, yeah. I would say some of them are a little bit longer, like finale, I think it's 40 minutes, but there are also some that I think are barely 30 minutes.
I just want to see lightsabers. And Carrie-Anne Moss is a Jedi. How cool is that?
Pretty perfect.
So I figured out where I knew Jonas. He played Chewbacca in episode 8 and 9.
Oh, cool.
He's playing a Wookiee. He's freaking 6'11". That dude is 9 inches taller than me. So yeah, it's a great cast. Definitely watch it. Definitely willing to talk about it too. As long as there's
Yep.
lightsabers.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what they end up doing here, just because we do have established film where they talk about the dark side not being a thing since forever. And I'm assuming this takes place like, maybe, what, 900, 800, 700 years before episode 1?
The Star Wars universe is incredibly static. Being brutally honest, technology-wise, they've plateaued. They have hyperdrives. They have laser swords. They have laser guns. They haven't done anything past that for 1,000 years.
A huge
That's the
galaxy.
equivalent of us going from medieval plague Europe to standing on the moon. And for us, standing on the moon literally happened 60 years ago, and people learned how to fly 50 years before that. Can you imagine if we were stuck as poor peasant farmers in medieval Europe? That's how much time has passed, and the technology hasn't changed. One of my problems about the Star Wars timeline, especially when we're talking this happened 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Why can't we just say 100 years ago? It just makes sense. Hey, there weren't any Sith 100 years ago. Hey, 50 years ago, there was this giant war and the Sith almost won. Episode 1, what do you mean you saw a Sith? We killed him 50 years ago. What are you talking about? Not we killed him 500 years ago, really? How do you even remember him? 500 years, everything changes as far as society goes, unless they're frozen, which is the only way you can explain timelines and lack of technology changes in 1,000 years. But I'm being bitter and old.
And I guess if anybody would know, one of you would. Do we know how old Yoda is in episode 1? Would he be around for the Acolyte potentially?
Ooh.
I'm guessing he
It says
probably will
800
pop
years old Empire, right?
I honestly don't remember.
900 years old. But 900 years old you are. Looks so good, you will not. Yeah, we could have literally a baby Yoda.
Yeah, like 100-year-old Yoda hanging out maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if he'll pop up, but I think it would be interesting, even if his little Yoda-like character back there learning how to use the Force. Okay. I don't know.
I got to be honest. I'd rather there not be.
No, that's totally cool.
I'm perfectly fine with this being independent of the rest of the Star Wars universe.
But think about the merch sale. We need Baby Yoda.
There was no Baby Yoda merchandise that first Christmas. Blew my mind. I mean, wow. It's okay for... I liked Rogue One. I really liked the Han Solo story. I enjoy a lot of these, finding out how things are interconnected. They don't always have to be.
I guess, again, this is very theoretical going out on a limb here. But I have been wondering this because of the information we do have about the Acolyte. I think we either have two scenarios here. Either A, the Jedi that are encountering this potential Sith die, or B, they survive and the Jedi Council chooses to cover it up. And some Jedi on the High Council might know about this, and that would, I think, make episode 1 a whole new perspective, potentially, if they're like, oh yeah, they've been gone forever. We wiped them out. And some Jedi, like Yoda, maybe working on different information, potentially. That just is one aspect that I've been thinking about that would, I think, change up a little bit of things, but definitely make it interesting. Anyway, thank you both so much for recording Tales of the Empire, especially Adam's working on East Coast time right now, and it is 1 a.m., I believe, your time.
1:34. Yeah.
Dude, you're amazing. Seriously, thank you.
Hope you had fun, Adam.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I definitely feel grateful that I have the two of you to dive into film, especially Star Wars stuff, with super fun. And Mark, I always learn so much about film, especially Star Wars, when talking with you. You're just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Star Wars. Love always talking
Do I have
with you.
practical knowledge? No, I don't. Star Wars, we're in, man. I gotcha.
Hey, it works out my favorite. But seriously, thank you both so much.
Anytime.
With that, I'll let both of you gentlemen get some rest and hopefully talk to you about some movies or TV shows very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Cinema Club. If you'd like to join us on the show in the future, please email us at thecinemaclubtcc@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, I'd highly encourage you to join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/thecinemaclubtcc. It's where we unveil what movies and television series we will be covering in our upcoming episodes. Also, while you're likely enjoying this episode on your preferred streaming platform, remember the Cinema Club is available on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and now on YouTube at the Cinema Club Podcast. Don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes as well, as your feedback truly makes a difference. Lastly, I want to express our gratitude to listeners like you who support us. If you love the show, please consider visiting our website and clicking the Support This Podcast button. You can find us at podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/support the Cinema Club. Even a contribution of 99 cents a month directly fuels the growth and upkeep of the Cinema Club podcast. Again, a big heartfelt thank you to those of you who already support the Cinema Club financially. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next one.